What's up guys, welcome back to another video. So we're going for my picks for Game 28 in the Premier League. Starting up at the City ground, Nottingham Forest against Manchester City. Forest have not had a good record against Manchester City since their promotion in 2022. They've only scored one goal against Man City in that time. And that did come during that first season back in a 1-1 draw. And I think that this game is also going to end 1-1. Man City is still a little bit shaky, a little bit inconsistent. And Nottingham Forest did just draw with Arsenal. This is another huge game in the top 4 race. And although Chris Wood never turns up against Man City, and his job is going to be even harder because Kusanov has come in and been fantastic for the Citizens. I see one of Elanga Hudson-Odoi Gibbs Whiteley scoring a belter. Although Manchester City did win this comfortably earlier in the season, 3-0, Jeremy Doku, Kevin De Bruyne and Jack Grealish all were brilliant on that day. Obviously Grealish hasn't really played a lot since then, and same with De Bruyne, he's been a bit injured. Doku as well has also been injured, but he's also been playing too far on the touchline now. He needs to play a bit more inside so we can see him take more shots. But if Pep does that, then Man City absolutely have a chance. But Nottingham Forest are a fantastic team, basically so solid. They'll make it very difficult for Man City, and it's the early kickoff. Never back the early kickoff. Brighton against Fulham. Now, Brighton have never beaten Fulham in the Premier League, which is a bit of a mad stat. But they have only lost 2 home games this season in the Premier League. They've won their last 5 in all competitions, their last 3 in the Premier League, including a really good win against Bournemouth last time, who are also playing really well and doing very well this season. Fulham have only lost 3 away games in the league this season, and lost 1 out of their last 9 away league games as well. They're both through into the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. One of them could win the competition for the first time in their club's history, which would be a magnificent achievement. I am a QPR fan, and I want Brighton to win, so I have gone 2-1 to Brighton, but Fulham away from home are dangerous and they could absolutely do something. Fabian Hertzler's ability to adapt has really impressed me over the last few weeks as well, but Marcus Silva does that too, so it should be a very good game. Crystal Palace against Ipswich. Crystal Palace won this game 2-0 at Portman Road, although I think Ipswich were a bit unlucky on that day. Jean-Philippe Mateta scored a beauty, but he won't be playing, I don't think, or he shouldn't at least, because of his horror injury due to some awful challenge from the Millwall keeper. And without Mateta, this game is going to be much more difficult. Palace at home aren't exactly great. They've only won 3 home league games all season, only 2 out of their last 9 as well. Ipswich do tend to do a little bit better on the road too, and I have gone with the 2-2 draw. I think Delap will probably score. Eze will probably get a couple for Palace, so I have brought him into FPL, please Eze. But it's now at that point in the season where you might start favouring the teams down the bottom who are fighting for their lives, beat the teams in mid-table who don't really have anything to play for. Like, yes, Palace maybe if they're lucky could get a European place, but it is unlikely, and Ipswich have much more to play for. Liverpool against Southampton. Now, Liverpool were extremely lucky against PSG in midweek, completely robbed them, were played off the park, scored with their only shot of the game, and were so lucky to avoid a red card to Konate. That man gets away with murder every game, by the way. Like, how he hasn't been sent off more is just mind-boggling, but he is so lucky. The whole Liverpool are probably the luckiest team I've ever seen, by the way. Like, some of the decisions they get are mental. And last time they played Southampton, it was actually a very close game. They only just about won, it was 3-2. And obviously that PSG second leg could be playing on their minds a bit. But, I mean, Southampton are so bad. It's top against bottom. The team at the top are at home. They should win comfortably. I've won 3-0. Mohamed Salah was the worst player on the pitch by far against PSG. He has to bounce back here. I think he'll score 2 goals, one of them being a penalty, and then Van Dijk will score a header or something. But they pretty much have the Premier League sewn up now anyway, so you never know. They might just rotate, rest everyone for PSG. Brentford against Aston Villa. Brentford's home form has been atrocious. They're winless in their last 6 home league games, their last 7 home games in all competitions. However, this is Aston Villa after a Champions League night, and we know how they do after a Champions League night. They've only won 1 league game all season following a European night, and that was right at the start. Realistically, Brentford won't have a better chance to put their home record right and maybe try and get it back on track, but I'm a QPR fan, so I'm going to hope that Villa win, and I have gone with the 2-1 win because they did get a good win in Belgium, and they do have enough players in the squad now to rotate, especially in the forward areas. Marlon can come in. Ramsey didn't start the last game, he could come in now. They've actually got players to rotate, which is just beautiful. And Villa do kind of need to win because it's unlikely they win the Champions League. If they are going to get into Europe, the team are directly below them is a game they have to win, because if they don't, Brentford would only be 1 point behind with a game in hand. And Villa would enter the bottom half of the table if Brentford were to win that game, which would be mental. But with that being said, Brentford have a huge threat, especially with Villa's defensive woes. They've got so little at the back. They sometimes play a suicide high line as well, and I mean, Mbeumo, Vissa, Charlotte, that's their bread and butter. Even Damsgaard feeding them. You've got Lewis Potter who likes to get in behind. It could be long, but I'm hoping Unai Emery adapts well. Wolves against Everton is 17th against 16th, but I mean, like realistically, only one of them's in any sort of danger because Everton are so far clear. David Moyes has been unbelievable. He's only lost one game so far since returning to Merseyside. Wolves are still very much in trouble, you know, with Cunha as well, suspended after just lashing out at Kirkes. What is he thinking, man? He's such a talented player. On the ball, he can do anything. Off the ball, he's very hard working as well. I don't think that gets talked about a lot. But Jesus, what is he doing, man? There's 1 minute left until a penalty shootout where your team needs you. Why are you lashing out? It's the second time he's done that. He might need to go to anger management classes. And he's been Wolves' only real good player this season. With him out and Everton's great form, I'm backing the Toffees to win here, 2-0. David Moyes' masterclass will continue. Everton could, in theory, end the match week up in 13th. Without Cunha, I just don't see how Wolves score because Everton's defence is very good and Wolves don't have many other goal threats. Fran Larsson's obviously been injured, he is now back. But I don't think he'll have a great game up against Tarkowski, Braithwaite, Jake O'Brien. Chelsea against Leicester. Now, Chelsea did just about beat Copenhagen in the Conference League. Leicester City have the worst manager in the league and, I mean, look at their form, man. They've lost so many games. They've lost 11 out of their last 12 Premier League games. They have got one win, which was against arguably the second worst manager in the league. And as much as I want to put my bias forward here and say Leicester City are going to get something, I've gone 2-1 Chelsea. It's not going to be a classic. I don't think they'll play particularly well. But Wout Faes is going to do something stupid again because Ruud van Nistelrooy for some reason doesn't drop him, even though he's shit. Because De Bruyne not able to start on the bench again because for some reason Van Nistelrooy hates him. I mean, he did start the last game. I know he didn't do particularly great, but like he's a young player that is clearly more talented than anyone else in the squad. You've got to give him a run of games if you want to have a chance of survival because, let's be real, you're not exactly doing great without him. I reckon Cole Palmer will finally get back on track and score here. And I do fear that Dewsbury Hall might do something off the bench, even though it would be very harsh. Tottenham against Bournemouth. Ange Postecoglou has to go. How is he still the manager of Tottenham? What are you doing, Levy? Get out of the club. We'll get rid of him. But do both, ideally. But how is he still there? He's so bad. They're now out of both domestic cups. They're going to finish in the bottom half of the league if they keep him especially. And they're not exactly likely to go through in the Europa League right now because that performance against AZ Alkmaar was shameful. And this is with most of their squad back. Like, yes, I know they have a few missing still, but no team is ever 100% fully fit the whole time. So you've got to be able to do things without them. And they can't because they've got the worst manager on. The second worst manager in the league. And contrary, although they also have had a lot of injuries, Bournemouth are flying. They've won so many games. I know they've been in a bit of a sticky patch, but they've got a fantastic manager who adapts to his team's strengths and doesn't care about having 90% possession, playing suicide ball. Bournemouth won the 6th early in the season 1-0, although that should have been 5 or 6 because they thoroughly dominated Spurs. They won at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium a few years ago 3-2, and that is a scoreline that I think they're going to win by this time as well. Andoni Iraola, masterclass. Zabani is still suspended, which is I think Tottenham will get a couple. Solanke, I think, re-injured himself after coming on in the Europa League, which isn't great. But for Bournemouth, their striker who replaced Solanke, Evan Nilsson, is back. And you've got to feel if Tottenham lose again, man, don't even give him the second leg. Get rid of him now. He is shocking. Manchester United against Arsenal. Two teams who are kind of not great going forward right now, although Arsenal has scored 7 against PSV. In the Premier League, they're definitely not quite as comfortable, which is kind of strange. The attack in Europe looks so free-flowing, yet in the Premier League it looks so stagnant, so stale, so devoid of ideas. But it's definitely better than Manchester United. Jesus, so bad. This isn't going to be a classic. Arsenal won 1-0 at Old Trafford last season. I think they're going to win 1-0 again. They have won their last 4 Premier League meetings with Manchester United. Although United did win at the Emirates in the FA Cup, it's not going to matter in this one. Manchester United's home form has been atrocious. They've only won 2 out of their last 7 home Premier League games. That's just not good enough, man. Finally, Monday night, West Ham United against Newcastle. West Ham look like a team reborn right now, you know. Graham Potter's come in, instilled some actual footballing tactics because Lopetegui wasn't doing that. I don't know what he was doing on the training pitch, but certainly wasn't anything to do with football. And with the returns of Todibo, Bowen, Ward-Prowse has come back to the club as well. they have looked really good. And Newcastle are on their typical just before the cup final decline. They've been in really poor form. They've also been hit with some huge injuries. Botman, Lewis Hall both out. Gordon got himself really stupidly suspended after a terrible challenge in the FA Cup. What was he doing? Well, to be fair, I don't think it's that big of a loss because I think Harvey Barnes is more than good enough on the left. If he's playing on the right, he's useless, but on the left, he's a brilliant player. Lewis Hall's a big miss, though. They really miss him in build-up, and Kieran Trippier is god-awful now, man. He is so washed. They need to ship him in the summer. He will get run ragged in this game, but he is lucky that West Ham's better players, better attacking players at least, play on the other side. So Tino Livramento will probably be the left back, and he will have to have a huge game, especially up against Shad Bowen and Mohamed Kudus. West Ham did win at St James's Park early in the season, but they haven't beaten Newcastle at home since 2019. And if Isak is fit, which hopefully he will be, I have gone with a 2-2 draw. If he isn't fit, then West Ham will win. But I'm going to go 2-2. It's a battle between the two best English managers, both of them really good, really underrated. Hopefully Potter will get some more players that he wants in the summer transfer window. Hopefully Eddie Howe is allowed to spend as well. And both of them have successful seasons next year. Those are some predictions for this week. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I'll see you soon for another video.